Hi students, hopefully at this point you have watched the video and read the article about becoming a paraprofessional in the state of Georgia. Typically we see paraprofessionals in our K through 12 setting, either working with students with special needs or assigned by a team level and then pushing in and working with students with special needs or assisting teachers as needed. We also see a lot of paraprofessionals in our kindergarten classrooms, as every kindergarten classroom typically has a paraprofessional, and in some school districts or private schools you may see parapros even in first or second grade as well. It depends on the district and their ability to fund those positions. As a parapro, if you read through those first materials and watched the video, part of your responsibility is working with small groups of kids, implementing lesson plans, and teaching. And so I wanted you to be aware of the Georgia Standards of Excellence. The way to locate these are in case.georgiastandards.org. This is where our Georgia standards live. There's another section of the GADOE website that has standards, but for me, this is the easiest way to navigate. And we're going to go to the second section, which says Georgia Standards Current Versions. Let's first look at ELA. I'm going to click on ELA, and I'm going to break it back down here. ELA, when you first click on it, that's English Language Arts, you're going to see elementary, middle, and high school. And so that's where you're going to get your standards. We're going to look first at kindergarten, since a lot of paraprofessionals go into kindergarten classrooms. Underneath each standard, you'll see in pink where it is divided up into grade levels. So I'm going to click on kindergarten, and it's going to expand. These are the areas of learning. So we've got reading literacy, reading informational, reading foundational, writing, speaking and listening, and language. All of these areas do tend to go from K5. You should see them in each area. But to get down to our specific standard level, you'll want to click on one. I'm going to click on Reading Foundational. When I click on Reading Foundational, you're going to see some more sub-content here. So under the area of Reading Foundational, kindergarten students need to know about print concepts, phonological awareness, phonics and word recognition, and then fluency. To get to the specific standard, I'm going to click on one. So print concepts, for example. Anything that appears in yellow is going to be the standard itself. So if I look at ELA, that means English Language Arts, GSE, Georgia Standards of Excellence, K, Kindergarten, RF is Reading Foundational, and then 1. This is the first and only standard under Reading Foundational for kindergarten. And when I click on it, it says that kindergartners will demonstrate understanding of the organization and basic features of print. Well, what does this mean? I can click on the standard and get more information under it. It's actually broken down into 4 different areas. So they're going to be able to follow words from left to right, top to bottom, and page by page. That's one element within that standard. When I click on that element within that standard, sometimes it's going to give me information over here on the left-hand side. It does not always give that information when you don't have a login, but typically if you're in a school, you will have a login. So I can look at the second one here, ELA, GSE, K, Reading Foundational, 1B. Says that students are going to recognize that words are represented in written language by specific sequences of letters. So these are the types of things that children are going to be able to recognize. And I can go through all of the standards this way. If I'm curious to see what language looks like, I simply click on language, and I'll see there are 3 total topics here: conventions of standard English, knowledge of language, vocabulary acquisition and use. I'm going to click on vocabulary acquisition and scroll down. And again, I'm in the yellow area, so these are the actual standards. So I'm looking at ELA, Georgia Standard of Excellence, kindergarten, language, the L, 4, 5, and 6, because the other standards are up here. So under conventions, I've got standards 1 and 2. Under knowledge, I've got standard 3. And then under vocabulary acquisition, I've got standards 4, 5, and 6. And I can click on these and learn a little bit more about what it actually means when I'm going to teach it in the classroom. I'm going to use this little down arrow here and collapse everything again. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at a different grade. And actually, I needed to collapse at each level. So let's look at 3rd grade. Let's say you end up working with 3rd grade students. When you first click on the grade level, it's going to give you some information over here about what the expectations are of the grade level. There is an option to print. You'll see some other options down here, but typically printing, if you need to know more about this, is always an option. We've got a window here that will expand this and make it larger if you need it, so we can expand it out. Excuse me, we can copy and paste. That's what this is. Copy and paste it into a Word document, perhaps, if we want to save it, put it in lesson plans, and so forth. You'll see some of the same areas here: reading literacy, reading informational, reading foundational, writing, speaking and listening, and language. And I'm going to click on reading foundational here again. And again, you'll see the same sub areas: print concepts, phonological awareness, phonics and word recognition, and then fluency. So when I click on print concepts for 3rd grade, there are no standards, because by 3rd grade, they should understand all of those print concepts. Like, we read left to right, we read top to bottom, we talk about the front of the book, the back of the book, the author, the setting, the characters. All of that has already happened, so there are no print concept standards. Phonological awareness, and if you'll look, it says kindergarten and 1st grade only. Phonics. There is a level for phonics here. They should know and apply grade level phonics and word analysis. There's the standard in yellow. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to tell me specifically underneath it what that means. So this is how you navigate the standard. It's very important that you understand navigating these standards. Let's go back and we'll say, let's take a look at math. If I click on math, it's going to look very similar. I'm going to see my K-5 mathematics, again by grade level in pink. So let's this time look at 1st grade. Here I've got, remember, the blue are my subtopics here. And then my standards on here are actually in green in math. I'm not real sure why they choose a different color, but it will show what the standards are here. So you'll know what the standards are for each grade level as you go through. So again, counting within 100, forward and backward, explaining the 2 digits of a 2-digit number, so knowing what 10s and 1s are. And there's additional information over here to the right-hand side. They're still building this part of Suitcase out to get that information in there. I hope this has been helpful. Remember, it is important, being a parapro, that you have some understanding of where to find the standards in case you ever need that.